Hey gang, and welcome back. These videos are brought to you by Card Conduit, the best place to sell your unused collection fast and easily. 401 Games, Canada's top shop for all your hobby and TCG needs. Dragon Shield, the strongest sleeves for your strongest decks. Moxfield, the easiest way to store and share your deck lists. And Foil Armor, flatten your foils fast. Archer wins the die roll and starts us off. He draws, playing a swamp, and oddly enough casting Death Shadow on turn 1. It immediately dies and goes to the graveyard, with Archer passing after that. Kuzno draws and plays a tapped Blood Crypt. Max's turn hasn't played Arid Mesa, and he cracks it to find a land, passing while searching. Matty just plays a forest. Archer's turn has a tapped Crypt of Agadeem, and he passes to Kuzno. Kuzno plays a mountain and passes. Max has got an exotic orchard for turn, and he casts Hazoret, Godseeker. He ships it after it resolves. Matt plays a Plains and casts Incubation Druid, shipping it after that. Arja's land for turn is a Conduit Pylons, scrying 1, and he keeps it on top. He then casts Xu-Ifit, and passes turn. Kuzno plays an exotic orchard for turn, and pays a red, a white, and a black for a Zuko. He passes once his commander resolves. Max has got a Reflecting Pool, and he then casts Mox Amber. He decides to be everyone's friend with a Smothering Tithe, and passes after that. Matt draws and doesn't pay the 2, playing a forest and casting Bioengineered Future. Arja draws and like a good boy pays for the Tithe, and plays a swamp in his main phase. He then activates Xu-Ifit to reanimate Death Shadow as a skeleton, and passes. Kuzno draws, paying for the Tithe as well, and plays Shinka as his land for turn, before casting Faithless Looting. Unfortunately, he can't pay for those 2 draws, with Max getting 2 treasures from it. Kuzno then moves to combat, hitting Max with Zuko, and passing. Max draws and plays a Skycloud Expanse as his land for turn. He then casts God Eternal Aketra. He then cashes in more of his treasures to help cast Atreus, and makes a 4/4 zombie token off Aketra, and passes. Matty's got a forest, casting Mana Gorger Hydra. He passes after that, with Arja cycling Chidden Gravestalker, drawing a card, and binning the creature. Arja draws, and doesn't pay the 2, and then activates Xu-Ifit to reanimate the Gravestalker. He then casts Fleshbag Marauder. Everyone will be forced to sacrifice a creature, and before doing so, Matty uses his Incubation Druid to help crack the lander, and then sacrifices it. Going to combat, Arja then swings his Death Shadow Skeleton at Max, who takes the hit. Arja ships it after that. Kuzno draws, playing Abandoned Air Temple as his land for turn, and then pays 2 for a Boros Signet. He follows up with the Legend of Roku, and passes after that. Max draws, and this time casts Kratos, and then plays a tapped Thundering Falls. He surveils 1, and then activates Hazoret to make Atreus unblockable, and sends him at Arja, and Aketra goes at Kuzno. They each take their hits, with Max gaining an experience counter. After combat, Max then plays out Osier Axonil. He passes after the god resolves. Matty draws and pays the 2, and then plays a Fabled Passage, cracking it to go and find a Plains. He then warps in Loading Zone. He then casts Dyadrine, putting 1 into the X, and because of the Bioengineered Future and the Loading Zone, ends up with a total of 10 counters instead. Matt then swings the Hydra at Max, and removes 2 counters from his creatures, to draw a card and make a robot. With Max getting a treasure token, Max then blocks with 2 4/4s and Osier Axonil, and Matty leaves the zombie alive. Matty then exiles his Loading Zone during the end step, and passes turn. Arja's got a swamp, and casts Fell to destroy the 4/4 token on Max's side. He then animates the Fleshbag Marauder with Xu-Ifit, and he swings a Gravestalker and Death Shadow at Max. Max jumps the Death Shadow with Kratos, and takes the 5. Arja then casts Night's Whisper after combat, losing 2 and drawing 2. He then follows up with Soul Ring, and passes. Kuzno draws, doesn't pay the Tithe tax, and ticks up the Legend of Roku for a mana, and then recasts Zuko in his main phase. He plays a Mountain from Exile, which puts a counter onto Zuko. He then casts Lightning Greaves from Exile, giving Zuko another counter, and equips him onto his commander. He keeps him back though, and just passes. Max draws, recasting Kratos, and then swings a Ketra at Arja. This gets him an experience counter, and Arja chumps with his Flashback Marauder. And Max then activates Atreus to draw 4 and discard a card, plus deals 2 to each of his opponents. Max's second main phase then has him casting Mana Vault, and then a Ketra the True. Matthew's got a Forest, casting Oboroid in his main phase. He then goes to combat, putting 2 +1/+1 counters onto his team because of the Oboroid trigger, and swings the Robot at Arja. With a creature attacking, Dyadrine triggers, with Matthew removing 2 counters to draw a card and make another robot. Arja then takes the hit, and Matt passes. Arja draws and swamp cycles it, with a Twisted Abomination hitting his graveyard. He then activates Xu-Ifit to reanimate it after he finds a swamp. He then plays the swamp, and follows up by casting Braids. Going to combat, he swings Death's Shadow at Mathieu. Matt just chumps with a robot token, and Arja passes. Kuzno sacrifices his Boros Signet to Braids on his upkeep, and draws for turn. He doesn't pay the 2, and the Legend of Roku then flips. Kuzno then plays a Luxury Suite as his land for turn, and he casts Dragonhawk. As he comes in, he exiles 3 cards off the top. Kuzno then moves the Lightning Greaves onto Dragonhawk, and he casts the Soul Stone from Exile. He then swings Dragonhawk at Max and Zuko at Arja. With Dragonhawk attacking, Kuzno again gets to exile his top 3. Arja chumps Zuko with a Twisted Abomination, and then before damage, sacrifices it as part of Village Rites to draw some cards, while Max just takes the hit. Moving to his end step, Dragonhawk triggers, dealing 10 to each of Kuzno's opponents since 5 cards are still in exile. Max sacrifices his Mana Vault on his upkeep to Braids and draws. He plays Thassa, God of the Sea, and then Perforos, Bronze Blooded, with each of the creatures making him a 4/4 zombie thanks to a Ketra. Max then continues by activating Atreus, and this gets him max speed as well. And he then casts Katara, Waterbending Master, and goes to combat. He swings everything at Kuzno, drawing 4 and discarding 1 to Katara. Kuzno blocks Kratos with Roku, but still takes lethal from everything else. Max then passes, and during the end step, Mathieu casts Bovine Intervention to destroy Braids on the end step. Matt draws and goes to combat, pumping his team with Oboroid again. He swings Dyadrine and the robot at Max, and Oboroid at Arja, removing 2 counters from his team to make a robot token and draw a card as he attacks. Max can only make 1 warrior token with a Ketra, so he also takes lethal, and Arja takes the damage as well. In his post-combat main phase, Mathieu then casts Defiler of Vigor, one of the cycle of cards that I absolutely love. He then casts an Evolution Sage, triggering the Defiler to add a counter to his team. Arja draws, cycling an Eldrazi Ravager. And he then sacrifices his Chitin Gravestalker to help cast Bone Shards, destroying Dyadrine. He then continues by activating Crypt of Agadim, making 4 black mana, and he casts Tormod. And then Stitch Together, bringing back Braids. Arja then activates Xu-Ifit to animate the Eldrazi Ravager, and makes a zombie token from Tormod. He passes to Matt after that. Matt's upkeep has him sacrificing a robot token to Braids' trigger, and draws for turn. He casts Karametra, and then recasts Dyadrine, putting 4 into the X. Karametra trigger gets him Temple Garden, and the Evolution Sage proliferates his team. And Mathieu then goes to combat, and puts 10 counters on his team thanks to a Boroid. He then swings everything at Arja. Arja chumps, but still takes damage from the Defiler trampling over the Death's Shadow. With nothing else, Mathieu passes turn. Arja draws, plays a swamp, and swings it at Mathieu. Matt blocks zombies and takes 2 from Xu-Ifit, but unfortunately Arja has no tricks to finish off Matt, and knows when he's beat and scoops it up. Game review time. So the strongest card this game was probably a Boroid. I don't know how you say it exactly, but it's got O's and Boroid at the end of it. It basically went unanswered for most of the game, which allowed Mathieu's board to get massive. Even those 2/2 robot tokens were just huge. It also fueled Dyadrine, allowing him to draw cards, make more robots, and so forth and so on. And speaking of awesome interactions, the loading zone, bioengineered future, and Dyadrine interaction was super sweet, having Mathieu get a massive commander for very little mana, just basically playing some lands and doing cool stuff. I love it. There are so many cool Edge of Eternities cards that really have gone under the radar. This video wouldn't be possible without the help from my sponsors, but it definitely wouldn't be possible without the help from you, the viewers, and my patrons. So I just want to say thank you for watching, and to remember, friends are just opponents you haven't eliminated yet.